After the talks, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said it was important that all countries, especially those with leverage, pressed Vladimir Putin to end the war. New Delhi continues to buy Russian oil, but India's foreign minister said those purchases dwarfed that of Europe's imports of Russian energy.
In our judgment, it is important that all countries, especially those with leverage, press Putin to end the war. And it's also important that democracies stand together and speak with one voice to defend the values that we share. And we do share profoundly the values of freedom, openness, independence, sovereignty, and those values need to apply everywhere.
If you are looking at energy purchases from Russia, I would suggest that your attention should be focused on Europe, which probably we do buy some energy which is necessary for our energy security, but I suspect, looking at the figures, probably our total purchases for the month would be less than what Europe does in an afternoon.
For more on this, let's cross live to the U.S. and join Arise U.S. Correspondent Rotimi Kade. Thank you for joining us, Rotimi. So how would you summarize the talks between President Biden and Prime Minister Modi?
Well, I think it was quite interesting, very frank, very candid, and also concrete between both leaders. I think they've been able to iron out their differences as regards Russia's invasion of Ukraine, though they're non-aligned on how to go about it. You do recall that the United States have accused India of not condemning outrightly the activities of Russia's invasion in Ukraine. And more recently, India has come out, especially with what happened in Bucha, where a lot of lives were killed and caused international outrage. India has condemned that and has also called for an independent investigation. So, but yesterday's meeting with President Biden actually shows that both countries are not on the same page. U.S. actually wanted India to forsake Russian oil and energy so that they can put pressure on Russia to end the war in Ukraine. But unfortunately, Russia has been, given a very juicy offer that is so irresistible to turn down, and that is giving discount on the oil for India and any other person who is interested in buying, which no other country is actually given. That's about 20%. That's huge. And India has been able to buy about 13 million barrels of crude between January and now, in a way to secure their own energy sufficiency. So it's so hard for the United States to talk India out of it. At the end of the meeting, the White House actually said that it's definitely not going to be in the interest of India in the long term to continue to buy Russian oil and gas, and also in a way that will help fund the military activities or invasion in Ukraine.
All right, but India remains a key ally for the U.S., particularly when it comes to China, though.
Well, yes, indeed, they remain not very close allies, but I mean, that particular relationship has been rekindled in the last, say, decade or so. Don't forget that the United States and India do not actually have relationships for a very long time. But India has been, very close with Russia over that period of time when the United States was not, available, was not a reliable ally. And I think the emphasis of India is that we cannot, forsake Russia right now, though we're not happy with what's going on in Ukraine. But in the best interest of India, it's not going to help us to reach our goals by, cutting off ties entirely with Russia. And I think that's what the foreign minister said there, that what India buys talking about the crude oil, is what Europe buy maybe in a day. So the emphasis should not be on putting pressure on India that's buying almost maybe like 2 to 5% of Russia's oil to Europe, and one of its strongest allies, Germany, still buying oil and gas from Russia. So there should be some sort of a recalibration of how the U.S. wants to get to Russia, but not through India. But there's a very important thing, that's a relationship that has been going on that the India and the United States would like to maintain, and that's the Quad, that's between India, Russia, Japan, Australia, and the United States. And the meeting is going to be coming up on May 24th next month. And that is a very powerful bloc that is capable of changing the narratives in the Indo-Pacific region and in geopolitics generally. And I think India would like to maintain that relationship with the United States. But on the other hand, I think the U.S. is also saying that India will have to choose, between, its relationship with Russia or the United States in terms of sanctions. There's nothing that's out of the books if the United States wants to get back at India, but it's not going to be in the interest of both nations, not the United States, not India.
Well, our US correspondent, Rotimi Kade, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.